Hi, my friends. Happy Sunday. I'm working at home, so I'm kind of in my grunge clothes, but I remembered suddenly in the middle of the night about this website that would allow me to record everything. So I wanted to be able to give this opportunity to record and talk about using Excel in a way that might be beneficial for us. So if you don't already know, I'm going to go over a few things. I'm going to explain why we're doing this project, and then we're going to be able to work on this next week all together in class. So Excel is like a way to do lazy man's math. It allows us to compare and contrast numbers, to search for oddities that might occur, things like that. And so, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be going over some of this to allow us to do math really quickly, and we don't have to worry about making a mistake, hopefully. So what I did is I have this assignment down in Schoology. What we're going to do is we're going to click on the enable editing. If you don't do this, then if you wanted to and go save a copy, you won't be able to, okay? So what you'll have to do is click enable editing. Okay, now my car that I really liked, I'm like super stoked about this idea. It's a 2017 black, oops, I got that my capitals on. Black Dodge Challenger. I'm looking at the Hellcat because that just looks fun. Okay, so this particular car that I'm kind of eyeballing, I was looking, I just Googled it online, and I found out that the cost of this car is going to be a specific amount. Now, before I get too far started, I wanted to just remind you, each time you click on a box, that's called a cell. When they go up and down like this, that's called a column. No, yes, column. And then when they go side to side, horizontally, that's a row. So what I can do is I can click on this box and I can say the cost of the car. What I'm going to do is I'm going to delete this information and I'm going to say that the cost of this particular car was $28,000. I have two screens, so I'm looking back and forth. You guys notice that, oh, there's a bug. You guys notice that this is not in the money. Like it doesn't show it as money. What we can do is on the home tab in Excel, we can click this button. It says money, and that'll convert it automatically to money. Now, the number of miles that I got in this car when I purchased it in my dream world in my brain is 77,452. 77,452 miles. Now, somebody had asked me, do I have to put a comma or anything? No, don't have to. Not right now. Math doesn't care. So what I'm going to say is that the initial price, I'm going to click on a random box. I'm going to say the initial price was $28,000. Now this did not change. It's just a basic number. So again, I'm going to click on my currency. Now I also know that I have cash for this fun car, right? So I have 15K for cash. I can type in my number, I click on a cell, and again, it did not automatically change it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on the number, and bam, it's in cash. Now also, there's clearly going to be a difference where I'm going to have to get a loan. When type difference, I mean a loan. So what I'm going to do is, like we say in English, here in the States, we say 1 plus 2 is 3, 1 plus 2 equals 3. In math, we can, in Excel, we can do it backwards. We're going to say, hey, I want you to do the hard work for me so that way I don't have to bust my brain. So we're going to hit the equal sign. This tells me that I want it to start any kind of formula. So I'm going to click the initial box. It gives me this color on I2. So it's telling me I2 in this color. So what I'm going to do is I have the initial cost. I'm going to find the difference, meaning I'm going to subtract the greater from the lesser. So I'm going to hit the minus button, and then I'm going to click this. And again, you can see I2 minus J2, I2 minus J2. And all I have to do is hit enter. So that means I'm going to have to get a loan for that. What I'm going to do for funsies is I'm going to give you guys some ideas of what certain numbers, oh, I forgot can't do that, look like. All right. So this one says to start any kind of formula. This one tells me to add. This one tells me to subtract. This one is divide. Now, when I was typing this one, I had to click in this box in order to type in this particular symbol because if I just touch it on my 10 key, it won't like it. This one means to multiply. There we go. And then this one talks about PEMDAS, right? Okay. This one is your parentheses. So this does matter in which order we enter this. The thesis, there we go, parentheses. Okay, so what we're doing is we have these different formulas. So again, you can write those down. I also need to know how many miles per gallon this gets. So my Hellcat, I'm anticipating, based upon the numbers that I found for this year, I actually only get 15 miles per gallon. So that means I can drive 15 miles and I've used up 1 gallon of gas, and then another 15 I've used up my second gallon, and so on. So if you weren't aware of that, that's what it means. So what we're looking at is we have a bunch of different ideas on how can we formulate what are the costs per year. So each year that I drive, it's 12,000 miles. But if I drive 12,000 miles and I get 15 miles per gallon and at $4, that's actually kind of tricky. So let me go ahead and show you a couple of other options first, and then we'll go in and I'll show you how to do this part. So my insurance, I actually based it upon my car that I drive. For my annual, it's actually 2,080. Now that didn't give me like an exact number. I don't know if you noticed that. I mean, it gave me a number, excuse me. It didn't give me a currency amount. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select this box. I'm going to drag it down all the way to select all these boxes. And I'm going to say, hey, man, I want you to be a number. And there it goes. So I clicked on this one, found under the home tab to turn it into a number. Well, I know it's 2080 here, 2080 here, and I'm just going to keep typing this number like to year 5. So year 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. What I'm going to do is I can either add all 5 years together or we can multiply. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit that enter button where I can start the formula, and I'm going to click on this box. So it tells me I've selected F7, it gives it blue, and I'm going to say I want it to multiply it 5 times. So for $10,400, I've insured my car for 5 years. One of the things that I also know is that when I'm looking at the parameters of this assignment, I have said that if my car has over 35,000 miles, then I gotta buy new brakes right away. Okay? So brakes, I anticipated was about $700. Since I'm doing it the first time, I don't have to worry about it any other time. So I'm gonna click 0. And we are going to use this idea later. So what I could do is I could go equals, and I can say this plus this plus this plus this plus this one. I'm saying F9 all the way down through B9. Now I could also have just typed in 700, and that's fine. But for consistency, that's what we're doing today. I also said on this assignment that if your vehicle is not four-wheel drive, you're going to have to buy brand new brakes now. Excuse me, brand new tires. I apologize. So tires, I'm only gonna have to buy them once and I can rotate them because I'm gonna have to put studded tires in my car. So I can type in 0, 0, 0, 0. I'm not gonna have to buy new ones anymore until after that 5th year. So again, I can click, it doesn't matter which order you go. I can type this box, this cell, B10 plus C10 plus D10, E10, and F10. And again, I'm doing it all the way across for consistency because what happens if I have to go in and maybe I change in my car or I'm doing a different assignment? This is going to save you in the long run. All right, the transmission fluid. Every 30,000 miles, we're going to have to do this, okay? So, right now, we haven't driven it 30,000 miles until the 3rd year. And I know that because 12,000 plus 12,000 is 24, but here is 36. So this is where we're going to have to enter in $120, okay? But then I know that I'm going to drive it here and I'm going to drive it here. So we're just going to leave these ones as 0. And I haven't gone over the 30,000 again because I know that 12,000 miles divided by did I say 30? 30,000. Okay, once in 4 years. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to, again, for consistency, I'm going to say this cell, B8, C8, E8, F8, and, oh, excuse me, E8 and F8. Okay, there we go. This one's telling me there's an issue. And it says I can do something about it. Do you guys see how this gave me a little green bump? I can just say ignore this error. It's not that big a deal. Now we've learned how we can go through and we can add these up. We can review our formulas. We can multiply. We can add, things like that. This next one gets a little different. And this is where we're going to be using PEMDAS. We're using plus, PEMDAS, divide, and we're also doing multiply. So in this one, what we're going to do is we are going to say that since we're driving We're going to do part one of our formula. We're going to do part two. We're driving 12,000 miles per year, but we also know that we get 15 miles per gallon. So what this part of this formula is saying, for the 12,000 miles in the year divided by 15 miles per gallon, that formula is actually tell us how many miles or how many gallons of gas we're going to use. However, I also need to multiply it by the cost of the gas. So again, this first part tells us how many gallons we've used in the year. The second part says, wait a second, what about $4 a gallon? That means in each year that I drive this, if gallons per gas stayed consistent, then we would be spending 3,200 a year. So I'm just going to go across and do that. Now, what I'm going to do is, again, I can add these across, or I can take this amount and I can multiply it by 5 because it's 5 times. Now, we're not going to worry about the car payment just yet because we're going to be working on that part again later. Now, we can go to Visa Credit Union. I'm just saying CU for credit union. We could go to Hapo Credit Union, again, CU for credit union, or we could go to Chase Bank. Okay, now what I know is maybe Visa is going to give us 2%, Hapo says 2.5, and Chase says 5. Now wait a second, these are not, they're just basic numbers. They're not percentages. So I could click on this, but wait a second, I do not want to pay this percentage, 200%, 500%. I don't want to do that. So I'm going to do is I'm going to go with Control Z, and these are going to keep selected. So what I'm going to do is in this number part, I'm going to go and I can go down to more number formats. This is where I'm at. This is the extra fluff. And I'm going to find the button that says percentage, and I want to make sure that it has 2 decimal places. Now we are going to adjust this here in a second, okay? So I'm going to say 2 decimal places. Okay, and again, it went to those amounts. Right here, we can move the decimal around to the right or left. So if I go to the left, or I could go to the right, and that'll change it. Now again, we don't like those numbers, so what I'm going to do is go to 2, 2.5. Uh-oh, it rounded. Let's try this again. Percentage, there we go, 2.5. And this one, we're going to go 5.0. Okay, perfect. All right. The one final thing that I want you to try to do on your own is you're going to try to add all of these columns together. I'll give you a hint. Down here it says this is the average. I've selected 5 of the spots, and it should be this amount when you're done. However, you need to enter this in a formula amount. Same with this one. You're going to go and you're going to select these. You'll be able to find out if you did it right by comparing and contrasting. It should be 5280 and so on and so forth. Now, not only are that, but you're also going to look at this one. So I'm going to help you with this first one. Kind of do it on your own after that. So we're going to say equals this one plus this one plus this one plus, whoops, this one plus this one, and then plus this one. Now, we don't have an amount here yet, and that's okay, because we're going to come up with those amounts later. However, on average, this is what we're paying per year. We wondered if it was $66.80, and it is. So your job is to select all this information, add it up here, and then we're going to pick up and do some more work with this. So hopefully that was helpful. I tried to think of what would be beneficial for you guys. I really hope this helps. If it was incredibly helpful, please tell me. If I talk too fast, kindly tell me. So, all right. I hope this helps, and I will talk to you guys later. Have a good rest of your weekend.